We've got a lot to talk about today, guys, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, look at this incredible UFO video shared by Wixie. Look at this. This is incredible. It's got, it's shooting off at very fast speeds. It's doing all sorts of crazy maneuvers. If this is legit, wow. What great footage. What great footage.
Corriamo giù a vedere. Andiamo.
We got a lot of shaky cam, but there we go. They get to the spot and they see this UFO.
Storia, guarda, ma che è? Ah, si è diviso, guarda che sta. Oh, uno è volato via.
Yeah, that is just jaw-dropping. I hope that's legit, because that is just damn cool. That is just damn cool. Look at that thing. That is just gangbusters footage, guys. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can come up with a mundane explanation, let me know. If you think this is a hoax, let me know. But it looks really good. It does. It looks really, really good. The slowdown of this encounter with these objects. Oh, yeah. And you can see how it shoots off like that. Yeah. Incredible stuff. I love it, man. I hope that's legit, guys. I hope that's legit. That's fantastic. Let's see. Meanwhile, James Fowler is talking about UFOs, the government, and energy weapons. And this is kind of an alarming, information for a couple of reasons, and we'll get into that. But of course, James Fowler is from Skywatcher, who I think is doing fantastic work, getting a really amazing video of UFOs, doing it very scientifically with the goal of actually having this information peer-reviewed in how they are summoning these craft or these beings, whatever the heck they are, these objects of these 9 different categories. And they come on command, whether they are summoned through the technological dog whistle or via psychic means. Well, I'm going to let him explain what's going on in this encounter.
There have been 2 instances of UAP reacting seemingly to our intent. So around 2003, we were running an event, and we had the opportunity to bring, for the government event, we brought an energy weapon with us. And so we had this energy weapon up on the hill, and we're doing things with it for the government project.
Just microwave battery?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And we saw a class 6 coming through our event, right? And this was extracurricular in our own time. And somebody from another group was like, hey, let's aim that thing at that UAP and see what happens if we energize it. So we're like, sure, let's just see what happens, right? So this person went to move. There was no electronic gimbal. It was like a manual antenna. You had to feed horn. You had to turn towards the UAP. So he's like, goes out there a couple, call it 60, 70 feet from our operating area, runs out there and starts turning it towards it. Mid-turn, before he could actually turn it to the UAP, the UAP hit us with an energy weapon.
Whoa.
Right? And that energy weapon turned our systems off, as in OFF, as in blank screens.
Wow.
It was working, and then it was in the off position.
Yeah.
And it happened to systems that were not connected to the same network, and that were not used together. So I think there were 3 separate systems that turned off.
Okay, really interesting that the UFO is reacting to the energy weapon being trained on it. I guess that's not a big surprise that it's shutting off their equipment. I'm alarmed by Skywatcher working with the government and bringing energy weapons out to these UFO encounters. I don't know what all that is about, specifically, how entwined Skywatcher is with the government and with the control group and what exactly they're doing. don't bring energy weapons to a CE5 event. Probably not a great idea. And not a big surprise that the UFOs would retaliate. But really interesting encounter. I forget which category the category 6 is. Is that the blob? Is that the manta ray? If you guys remember, let me know in the comments below. Meanwhile, we have Eric Burleson saying that the Tic Tac might be man-made. At least that is what he has been told.
I've had 2 people come to me that say that the Tic Tac is a Lockheed Martin creation. The latest person that came to me says he has video of the first, second, and third iteration of the Tic Tac, and he's going to show me. So I'm trying to set that up. The way he describes it is that they had a prototype, they've made changes to it, they've made it more advanced, and then now it's in iteration number 3, which I did see a photo of, and it looks like pretty advanced military like craft, like a plane, but it's clearly human made. It's nothing that I've ever seen, our military has, but his claim is that they have discovered a propulsion that's a new type of propulsion. They used it in the first iteration, which was the Tic Tac. They have an intermediary one that they are more advanced with, and then now they're putting it inside of what looks conventional, so that it's not obvious.
Okay, so that's not the first time that sources have told people in the know that the Tic Tac is man-made. And hey, you never know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But people have been seeing these objects for decades. And, back in the 50s or 60s, they were seeing objects that they described as flying butane tanks, which is probably the Tic Tac. So they've been seeing these for a long time. So unless Lockheed Martin has invented time travel and gone back to then, or maybe they had this back then, because I am a firm believer that we have had our own craft since at least the 60s. But those seem to be more structured UFO things with human occupants, as opposed to these drone-like Tic Tacs, if that's what they are. Also, in the most famous Tic Tac encounter, the Nimitz encounter, 2004, there were up to 100 of these objects over a period of about a week, coming and going from sea level to space. And when they were doing that transition, it was like happening in a second without creating a sonic boom. So that's beyond like just inventing some new propulsion. That's a whole different understanding of physics and technology, being able to do that. And that's manipulating space and time, like what that Kratsios from the White House was saying. So, hey, maybe they've got it. Maybe they can do it. I have no doubt the UFO control group does indeed have that technology. Is that what the Tic Tac is? I'm not sold on that. I don't know if that quite makes sense, or how that makes any sense, especially since they've seemingly had these objects for decades. But hey, you never know. You never know. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Also, the idea, the fact that the Tic Tac in 2004 seemed to be playing with them. Showing up at the cat point, the rendezvous point, which was only known, to the people that needed to, go to the cat point and their bosses. So how does that make sense that this Tic Tac would be playing with them and engaging in this little dogfight with them if that was man-made? I mean, I guess it could have been human operators just effing with them. I mean, hey, you never know, right? You never know, but I do tend to doubt it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, an amazing UFO video from John Bell, and I know some of you are not excited about John Bell's footage, but he is legit, and here's an incredible video. All right, so he's tracking this one object that's pulsing, right? But it gets way more interesting. All right, so I will turn it on to his audio.
Gets much brighter. There's a shit right here. He needs to go find his own space.
All right, you tell him, John, Yeah, you should all go check out John's channel, Real Florida UFO, or Florida Real UFO, excuse me. All right, so he's tracking this one object, which is clearly distinct from a plane. It's not a plane, and we just saw what a plane looks like. But it gets more interesting. Okay, right around here. All right, check it out. It splits into two. It splits into two, guys, right around that point. Splits into two. That is incredible. Okay, and it keeps on going. So that's the other object. That's the second object. It was one, and now it is two. It is hard to tell because there is a star right there. But that one object clearly splits into two right there, and then boogies off. Both of them in their separate directions. That is incredible. I love it when these objects, when these UFOs, bilocate or whatever the heck they do. I thought that was just really incredible footage. So yeah, I love that. So again, go check out his channel, Real Florida UFO, where you can see all sorts of incredible encounters from John Bell. Really great stuff. Meanwhile, we have a really interesting interview here on, let's see, what channel is this on? Yeah, the Jeff Maher podcast, who has just, an amazing interviews on a daily basis, pretty much. Well, this gentleman does hypnotic regression on contactees. Certainly not the first person to do hypnotic regression on abductees and contactees, but he does it with a really interesting focus and a really interesting purpose. He's able to put people into a deep hypnotic state where he can then interact with the beings. He can use that person and, talk through the person to the beings that are abducting them. And if that person has an implant in them, for example, he can actually negotiate with the beings that have that implant removed or deactivated. It's wild stuff, guys.
So we were able to say to that device, and I asked them, can we go back to the entities that planted this device and ask them what it's doing there? And so then it became like a telephone, and the entities on the other end of it said, oh, yes, we implanted it. Why you ask? What do you want? And so now we're in a conversation with the ETs. So I'm not actually, a lot of the times it seems like they're sitting in a ship physically. Although it's what I sense as well is a lot of times they can be in bodies, but they don't have to be. And so that was something where we said, what's this device doing? It's looking at him. And so at that point, I said to him, and I helped guide, and we're like, well, what do we do now? It's there, it's monitoring us, it's making him uneasy. And so I said, well, look, there's a law of sovereignty. He hasn't given permission. We've found this. It's making him uncomfortable. We'd like you to release it. And we assert a law of sovereignty. We ask for it to be released. And then they'll say things like, they might agree. So in fact, you get a range of responses. Some will agree quite quickly and apologize. Some will just kind of try and ignore you. And then you have to persist. And some you have to sort of persuade them to take it back.
Anyway, a fantastic interview, guys. I highly recommend watching the full thing. And of course, I'll link to it. Watch it at your leisure. Great stuff. I may have to share some more clips from it in the future because some really amazing information in that. Meanwhile, this woman is a Bigfoot experiencer, and she says that, yeah, the government is aware of Bigfoot, and they seem to be doing something about it. I don't know if I want the control group to be doing something about Bigfoot, but it's not the first time that I've heard that they have some involvement with Bigfoot, and they actually seek Bigfoot out. We don't know why, but here is her information.
There seemed to be as though the government was involved at the pecan orchard. There were Blackhawks sometimes, and there were times where it sounded like there was a helicopter down where we had our encounters. That our property backed up into a big lake, and that's so you could hear a helicopter down there, and they were shooting guns. And then also, someone I had worked with years previous to having the pecan orchard, I had remembered she talked about that area had the Mexican folklore of La Llorona.
Okay, well, anyway, so she goes on with the more of her story, but there you go, talking about Black Hawk helicopters and actual gunfire, which seems to be, you know, the control group seeking out these Bigfoots. Is it big feet or Bigfoots? And shooting at them, which is not the first time I've heard that either, unfortunately. Sometimes they seem to seek them out peacefully, and sometimes they don't. Really interesting, her encounter was in Texas, where I am. You don't get a lot of Bigfoot stories here in Texas. I would love to know where this pecan orchard that she had these encounters is. She doesn't give a specific location, but really interesting, and I think very alarming that the government is involved in that. Yeah, I don't like that. Don't like that. What I do like is the Boogosphere. The Boogosphere is amazing, and they're finding out all sorts of information about it. You know, the latest thing right now is the fibers that seem to be running through this object. We don't know what these fibers are or what their purpose is, but there are some ideas. Now, this isn't in English, so I'll read the subtitles. Now, according to the expert who consulted with the fiber expert, this fiber is used as a sensor for events in the atmosphere, humidity, temperature, for example, pressure, all of this. So if it's for the atmosphere, then the sensors are set for a device that has to be in the atmosphere. And it is precisely there where the object was seen levitating in the atmosphere. Okay, so yeah, so maybe these fibers were sensing the atmosphere. Really intriguing. These things right here, these fibers. However, there is debate about the fibers. Let's see, but first, biologist Jose de la Rios Lopez, who also works on the Nazca mummies, made a stunning microscopic discovery inside the now infamous Boogosphere. What he found might change everything we know about material science and intelligence. Extraordinary discovery of the optical fiber at the microscopic level extending from the interior to the exterior of the Boogosphere. That's just super fascinating. But again, like I say, there is debate about this. Wiverness is posting this. Boogosphere alleged fiber optic sensors are actually the reflections from the magnifier's own LED illuminator. Discovered by @PictureMan, pattern of 8 lights matches magnifier lights. Each reflective surface shows the same pattern. So I don't know about this. I would need to hear a reply or a debunking or a rebunking or whatever it is from the researchers themselves or somebody that knows more about this than I do. But obviously, we need to approach this with a critical eye. And, you know, maybe the Boogosphere is legitimately anomalous and maybe it's not. If it was indeed that object flying around the skies with no visible means of propulsion, and if it's producing health effects on people and so on, then it seems pretty anomalous. But you never know, and you got to go into the stuff, you know, with your eyes open. So I wanted to share that with you, and I'll definitely be keeping my eye open for any replies for any researchers or experts to see whether or not, you know, these fibers are indeed proof of some sort of high technology. Last but not least, we've got hover bikes, guys. We've got hover bikes. I want one of these, man. I want a hover bike. Let me know what you think about this awesome hover bike. We could, you know, run around and view Bigfoot from, you know, the top. That'd be amazing. Okay, all right. Let me know what you think about this and everything else covered today in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook, Twitter, and Discord links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a hoodie or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really do appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.